Okay. Good morning. The Finance Committee meeting is called to order. Today is Wednesday, May 15th. The time is 10:36. All members are present, that being Alderwoman Finlayson to my right and Alderwoman O'Neill to my left. At this time, I will accept a motion to approve the agenda. I don't believe there's any revisions unless people don't show up.
Move approval of the agenda as written.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
At this time, I'll accept a motion to approve the meeting minutes from Thursday, May 9th, which was our final deliberation day.
Motion to approve 5/9/24 special meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, so with that, I think we go right to, we have 4 supplemental appropriations. We'll just go in order. The first one is, and bear with us because we haven't had time to look at these. SA 29-24, it is the Harbor Master's Office. Is there anyone here to speak to it? The brief summary is that it appropriates $11,922.19 to the Harbor Master's Office Contractual Services account, and it will allow them funding to cover electronic expenses and boat repairs.
I can,
Director Dickinson?
yes, Jody Dickinson, Finance Director. I can speak to this. In the past few weeks, the Harbor Master was able to list on GovDeals a boat that they had taken possession of that had a meat slicer, a significant meat slicer on it, like
Yeah.
lunch meat, that kind of thing. And in the course of their taking possession, they listed it for sale. They received a total of $11,923 for it.
Are you
And they wanted to add that to their budget so they can do some repairs that they don't have enough in their budget for.
What was it, a commercial meat
I don't-
slicer?
Okay, so let me see.
I'm sorry. Wow.
I don't think I have
It's okay.
the details on the boat, and the meat slicer wasn't insignificant either, that
Yeah. Was it the boat included, the sale?
Yeah,
The boat?
Yeah, the boat, they were sold separately.
Yeah.
We received the payments separately. The meat slicer sold first, the boat second. If you want details on what kind of boat it was, you'd have to ask the harbor
Oh,
master.
so
but
the 11,000 includes both?
yes.
Thank you.
Both,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
both.
You know where I was headed? I'm like, what the heck?
So, because they don't usually list things on GovDeals, they wanted to see if they could do this and use the funds for some extra repairs that they want to do. So, it's just some additional revenue that we've received that they would like to spend.
Madam Chair, I'll recommend a favorable recommendation for SA 29-24.
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Good work, Beth Bellis. Meat slicer, wow, what the heck? So the next one is DPW, SA 30-24, and the brief explanation is it appropriates $262,500 just in time from the Capital Reserve Fund to the Hilltop Culvert replacement project. And then this transfer will allow the city to design the reconstruction of the existing partially failed culverts under Hilltop Lane. We have someone here from DPW to speak to us, so if you could kindly introduce yourself, that would be great, Michael.
Sorry, he had to run over here. I just sent an email. Please send somebody quick.
Mike Rosberg, stormwater engineer in Public Works.
Do you want to just explain in a little bit more detail?
So if I can just preface this by saying what we have here, adding to the The 24 budget is what they need in 24 to do the planning. The other 25 will come to you in an amendment to the 25 budget that we've proposed to you. The page is attached to, that will be the insert into the capital improvement plan.
You mean an amendment to the 2025 budget?
Yeah, yes, what did I say?
24.
Well, there's one to, this one
Was
is for
one-
24.
Right.
Then there's going to be one to the 25.
Gotcha.
Sorry if I misspoke.
Oh, may I ask, how much is the total? If this is one portion of it, did you say?
Yes, if you look at the second page that's attached to the essay, there should be a capital.
We don't have a
No,
second
we don't have a
page.
second page. It's just the summary sheet. Unless, no.
Okay.
What do they say in a courtroom? I have in front of us. Exhibit A. So what exactly, are we looking at 24 or 25 here?
This, what we're asking in the essay is just the 24 piece,
Okay.
so they can do the design.
And in 2025, it's another $1,050,000, is what I'm seeing.
Yes, and we're splitting, the funding sources are split between the bonds of the watershed fund and the general city bonds, because you have both roadway and culvert improvements here.
And that, okay. The numbers are, all right, thank you.
Okay, so this supplemental appropriation just addresses the first column. Yeah, that's pretty clear as far as the transfer and, yeah. So what's going on underground, Mike?
Yeah, right. So, and I don't know the exact time. It was a couple months back, I believe. Our road crews noticed a significant sloughing off of the culvert. And this culvert is located on Hilltop Lane between, I want to say Tyler Ave and Boxwood Road, kind of right at the down, the bottom of the hill there, right near the Farragut Apartments. And as they were driving by, they noticed the downstream side of the sidewalk. There's sidewalk on the road there too, that there's a significant sloughing of the slope. And the further investigation, we noticed that the downstream end of, there are 3 culverts, and these are the underground pipes under the road. 2 of the 3 had completely collapsed and failed in on the downstream side, resulting in just one functioning pipe that still experienced some, it's an old CMP pipe, so there's still some rusting and structural integrity compromised. So we currently using the, I believe just our utilities budget, we have a smaller proposal in to just do quick repairs to make sure that they function properly. But this design, this emergency culvert repair, is for a complete redesign and repair of all 3 culverts. The subsequent inspections result after we've cleared some debris. These culverts have just used up their lifespan and really need replacing and a better design as far as capacity goes as well. So this will take all that into account. And like Jody said, there's roadway improvements also associated with this project, because there is a water line that runs right along Hilltop Lane in this area and actually is exposed overground downstream. So this project will also incorporate that, redesign of any of that water line also, so.
So does that explains why it's not all against the funding isn't from the enterprise fund, stormwater? There's only 25, where did I see that? The watershed fund, oh no, it is, yeah, but there's some of it charged with the water.
We have some of it in the watershed.
Yeah, okay.
Some in the general city-funded bonds. So that recognizes that it's both includes watershed-related issues and our general city issues with the roadway, the sidewalk,
Gotcha.
other issues.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion or?
Madam Chair, I'll move that we give a favorable recommendation to SA 3024.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The crack in the picture is quite alarming.
Yeah, this is one of the larger culverts in the city that handle a lot of flow, and
Yeah.
it would not be. Luckily, the road hasn't experienced any settlement at this time, but the sidewalk is severely compromised, which is a indicator that this could go bad. So.
All right. Thank you so much for showing up.
For running down.
No problem. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay. Next, we have Affordable House Trust Fund, blah, SA 34-24. Let's see, this allocation appropriates $181,000 of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund balance to the Affordable House, what's wrong with me? There's too much coffee. Housing Trust Contractual Services Account. I didn't know we had one, okay. The Affordable Housing Trust Fund balance was higher than estimated due to prior fiscal year purchase orders carried forward into fiscal year 2024. It's higher than estimated, okay. This excess will provide additional funding for the Affordable Housing Trust Program. This comes from the state allocation from, is this the hotel tax appropriation?
No, this is part of Teresa Wellman's funding that was originally in that trust fund that she's been spending over the years. Right now, that housing trust fund has,
Oh, it's not rental assistance, sorry.
no, it's not rental
Gotcha,
assistance.
sorry.
She had some old, previous year purchase orders that were still in the system that were reserving funds. And because of that, that available balance didn't roll into this year because it was already earmarked. So she's liquidated those purchase orders because it's whatever they were for, it was an old project that now can be liquidated, and she wants to use those monies for something else. So we have to reappropriate them in '24 so she can use them.
How did she discover that? Is there,
Well, she's aware every year when she would start a project
Yeah.
to use these trust funds, it is property improvements.
yeah,
She would establish a purchase order for a vendor, and these projects were from past years, and they are completed. And I don't believe it was just one purchase order. I think there was more than one that she's liquidated, and she has some other needs that she needs to fund, and so she's trying to fund those needs and also clean up the records before she retires. So these need to be appropriated so she can
so what's in front of us is just the appropriation, we don't know what she's going to use it for at this time, it just says,
no, this is
Okay.
just allowing her to
Yeah.
commit it to a new purpose.
Questions, Alderwoman Finlayson?
Yes, does this amount completely deplete that existing account?
I
Or are
don't know
there
the
still
answer.
funds there?
I don't know the answer to that question, how much she's got left after if she spends this or puts it on a new purchase order for a new purpose. I do not know what's left in her housing trust fund. I know she's drawing it down. I don't know if it's all gone.
Okay, so this is just a drawdown on the existing account? This is
Yes.
not moving it to another account so that she can use it?
No, okay. So she had intended to use it on those prior year projects. Those have been completed, she doesn't need it. So she is going to appropriate, she's going to commit it to another purpose. And it's something that's already there, it's not new money, it's something that's been there for a while that she wants to draw down on.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm still not, to Alderwoman Finlayson's point, is this another way of asking, is this close out fiscal year 2024? Does it close out her?
I do not know if this will completely deplete what's there.
Okay, I think Okay.
and would not have an impact at this time of what we've asked you for 25.
Does the money in her account have to have a designated use, an approved designated use? Because we're moving into contractual services, which would suggest she wants to spend it for,
I think all of her appropriations out of that fund are under contractual services, because what she's paying for typically is construction costs for other people's properties. So it's typically categorized under contractual services. So that's not a new category.
okay, thank you.
Well, let's hope she finds other money, unspent money.
Well, she's getting ready to retire, so
She should, right?
that's
what
what
I mean
I
by
understood. And so she's trying to pay out everything and clean it all up.
Yeah,
so
sort
that-
of close out these
Yeah.
projects. Okay, do you have any other questions?
No.
Do I have a motion?
Motion for favorable recommendation on SA 3424.
Second,
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay, this one looks interesting by its title. American Board of Internal Medicine. Okay, let's look. This is the mayor's office. This SA appropriates $22,375 from the American Board of Internal Medicine. This will allow funding to address misinformation in Black and brown communities in Annapolis. Misinformation. The original grant was for 30. 7,625 was expensed in fiscal year 2023, which left this balance of 22,375. I guess because of it not being spent, the grant was extended through 12/31/23. However, this was not included in the fiscal year 24 budget.
Translate.
Yeah, so,
Yeah, it sounds like an unspent grant.
and if you don't mind, I'm actually going to highlight a change that's within the current ordinance that's somewhat related to this. So basically, this is grant money that was received in a prior year. Not all of it got spent by June 30th. The funder allowed that money to be spent over a longer period of time into the new fiscal year. But those monies weren't reappropriated. It was an oversight in crafting the FY24 budget. So they weren't reappropriated into FY24. So technically that appropriation isn't available anymore, which is why this supplemental appropriation is here, is to reappropriate that money into the new year. So the funder's fine with it, but City Council has to indicate that it's willing. This whole issue of reappropriating grant funds where you have more time to spend them is actually one of the changes that's in the ordinance this year. There's actually, one of the things that you haven't seen up to now has been estimates of how much we think we're going to spend on grants and how much is going to get carried over into the new year. Part of what has happened in the past, this is completely Vicky talking, by the way.
What is the ordinance you're referring to?
The budget ordinance, 07, the main budget ordinance.
Okay.
Has been, folks spending time, finance spending time, departments spending time, back in December, November, trying to estimate how much they're going to spend by June 30th. So it's a very, very rough number so that money can be reappropriated. This year, what you have is what I think is more actually your intent, which is just a line that's in the ordinance that says, basically, if the funder is okay, if you have more time to spend a grant and you haven't spent it all, the funder's fine with it, consider it reappropriated. We just will en masse reappropriate any monies you have left at the end of the year. so that you have the more time that the funder is allowing you to actually spend your grant money. So for off-cycle grants and things like that, you're always going to have some amount left over because the grant inherently crosses fiscal years. So it's been a way of trying to avoid this problem of, I actually have more time to spend this grant money, may not have gotten it exact the first time, back in November or December. Anyway, that was a very long explanation.
No, but to be blunt, to me, not knowing it, to me on paper, it looks like bad grant management. So somebody secured there's a lot of work to secure a grant, and they secured 30,000, and they only spent 7,625, and they don't know till now that, oh, we have all this money left over, we need to appropriate back to 2024. I just feel like you're giving them an out to extend, and it might be because I don't understand, but
So that
you know what I mean?
permission from the funder was secured a long time ago.
right.
And the
Internal medicine, I
grant,
guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
the grant period itself is at this point closed.
Right.
Right. So that money, those monies did get drawn down, right? This was a project that originally started under the Hispanic liaison, kind of morphed into OCS.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And has, we've reached the end of that grant. This was just, it was forgotten in the estimates
Yeah.
for the FY24 budget preparation.
Because I'm thinking it might have been for the pandemic and the misinformation.
Some of it, that was part of, I think, some of it was COVID-related outreach.
Right.
And morphed, because it came in at the end of the pandemic, the money came in
Yeah.
originally at the end. That was part of the discussion with the funder, and part of the reason for the extension was it also then gave them permission to use it for some general education as well. So there was a bunch of health videos and things like that, Spanish language videos that Make Your Mark Media helped with, that was done under the auspices of this grant.
Questions?
Not a question as much as a statement. Well, maybe it is a question. This isn't an anomaly. I think we hear this all the time, and not because it's an oversight or it's been ignored, because no one ignores money that they could be using, but it speaks to the volume of their work. And even in the mayor's office, which has a more limited budget than every other department in the city, almost anyway, they're swamped with stuff. And whether finance remembered this or they did, I think it is appropriate for us to support carrying the money over into another year.
Oh, we have
We're not talking $100,000 that they overlooked or anything like that. My question is there a specific program? Is it in OCS? Is it in No Harm, or where is it?
Yeah, it was a partner, essentially it was under the auspices of OCS. It was originally under the auspices of the Hispanic liaison. Laura had done the original grant application that had come with her and been part then of what OCS ended up embracing. They worked then with Make Your Mark Media to create those materials and stuff, but OCS was the overseer of that.
That explains it then.
And it was the
One more
develop.
thing for
Yeah.
them.
So essentially, part of what we have now is that little library of materials, right? That the city gets to hang on to.
Okay.
Yeah. And if
you.
this was Laura as the initiator, I mean, I think she won awards and stuff for her efforts during the pandemic for that outreach, probably using this money. So But I was concerned about the ordinance. Is there, that's not in front of us now, but the ordinance you say does extend grants to carry over?
Yeah,
How do you feel about that, Director Dickinson? Yeah.
Jody Dickinson, Finance Director. Yeah, so what she was explaining, we've added a sentence into the ordinance that gives us the ability, when this happens, if something's not spent at the pace they believe it's going to be spent, and it carries over, that it automatically gets reappropriated in '24. You therefore will be seeing fewer of these.
Right.
Because that sentence applies to grant funds, external grant funds coming in, because we have, you see several of these a year.
Right.
And we're trying to minimize that. And yes, you would have to see any new grants that we get. But when current grants are carrying over, they estimated what they were going to spend, how much was going to go into the next year, but they estimated it incorrectly, which can happen. They can automatically use it in the following year. So you won't see those types, this very type, you won't see those anymore for your consideration because the ordinance gives us permission to just carry those forward automatically.
So the budget review is really the checkpoint of what's
Yeah.
the status of these grants and how much are we carrying
Yeah.
over? So there is sort of a
And
checkpoint.
it's going to save a lot of time, especially for the departments, because they spend a lot of time trying to project where they're going to end up at the end of the year. And then it saves them time of having to come back to you and say, whoops, we didn't spend it all. We're going to need to carry this money forward. So it's going to save us time as well.
Well, may I ask, will there be a running list of these in the finance department? I mean, if someone were
So,
to,
yeah, we're tracking them, and we will reestablish the appropriations automatically every year. The new grants that are coming in '25 are in your budget book, in the grant fund. You will see those. And the only ones we will be doing this for is the ones that are carrying over. We have a piece of the funding that we didn't spend, we're carrying it over into next year. You will see all the new ones. And we have to still track the old money in the system with the departments too. We're working together with them.
That's a task.
thank you.
Okay.
And I have to give kudos to Vicki for coming up with this great idea to help streamline our processes.
No, anything to streamline.
Madam Chair, I'll recommend a favorable recommendation for SA 3524.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Sorry, I had to be the bad cop there, but I just, I didn't know what we were doing. Deputy Director Guild, are you here for, she's on the phone, okay. What's that? Oh, the boat and the meat slicer. No, that's okay. We're done there. Yeah. Can't make it up. Do you have an update for us? How's the amendments coming in?
So I haven't looked at the list of amendments. I've talked to a couple of the council
Close the
members.
business today, though, right? 5 o'clock?
4:30.
Yes, close the business today. We're having conversations with some of the council members, today as we speak, trying to get the forms submitted. Hopefully, it'll all be in it by the end of the day, and we won't be battling to include things that weren't on the list.
Can I ask a question? Director Moore, I asked him to review the parking rates, and bear with me, right now, the code of the fees is incorrect for Hillman. And I was cautious to get into that because of Metco. And he suggested just putting like an asterisk or something saying subject to public-private partnership, or I just wasn't sure. I'm trying to write an amendment revising these fees because he does have some updates on the other garages, some tweaks. But I wasn't
Okay.
sure how to address Hillman. if
Okay,
at all.
so just so you recall, you can change those fees at any time.
During
You
the year.
can write this amendment that addresses our resolution that we put before you. The fees resolution is before you. You can amend those as you will. And in July, if Medco rates, updated rates for Hillman, did not get to us by July, in July, we could come to you and say, here, we would like to update the
Okay.
rates for this. It's just until that time, the legislated rates stay as they are.
Okay,
So you can change the fees at any time during the fiscal year.
okay.
I don't know what the status is of the Hillman rates. I saw an email asking them, what do you think, what are going to be the proposed rates for this next year? That's something the council has to approve.
Yeah, it was something that Marcus and John, he had to talk to SP Plus and Premium. And he gave me this backup, and it's a little confusing, but I deciphered out of that there'd probably be about several tweaks right now that I can at least get in. And then,
For our garages, yes,
For
we
our
can, still amend the resolution. But those should be included in the amendments that we're talking about getting into today for that fees resolution.
yeah, I'll get them in after
Yep.
this, yeah. Thank you for that, yeah. Oh, so what else is going on?
Just that we're doing a lot of we're doing a lot of interviews for our accounting positions. We had 2 accountants and a senior accountant position open. We're doing interviews for those, so hopefully I'll be getting some new people on board. And we're planning on temporarily using space across the street until we find a permanent solution, just to put 2 or 3, 4 people over there temporarily.
Oh, you
So
mean across the street where? In
Maynard Burgess House. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just, and it was gonna be something that's just temporary, trying to use that space. The DPW is working with us just to put some people over there so I can fill these positions and have desks to put people in. Other than that, we have this longer term solution coming up that we've trying to fund in the 25 budget to find some space to further expand.
Well, may I ask, so is the second floor livable now?
No. That's why we're only
okay.
putting like 4 people over there,
So
because
only
they
on the
can only
first
use the
floor.
first floor.
Okay.
And we're not going to put up any permanent walls or anything. We're just going to move some, what do you call it, the walls, the cubicle wall
dividers.
things up to give people some quiet space, but other than that.
Does it have a certificate of occupancy?
I suppose so. Donovan's
so.
helping.
I'm
sure.
I hope so. I work with John Tower and Donovan in getting this moving.
Okay,
So
just
hopefully.
know where the exit signs are.
Yeah. There were some issues that we have to kind of tweak, like the doors and the bathroom door. It isn't that private. So we're just working through some details on how to get it fixed up for somebody to.
Is there also security? And I
So-
guess that leads me to another question, but I'll wait until you answer this one.
Well, I guess we'd have to have Donovan to talk particulars about the front door versus the back door.
Yeah.
And what they're going to do there to limit access. I don't think that the front door is going to be unlocked and available. The back, we talked about putting some kind of thing on the back door so we can go in and out the back. That's also the particular questions about going in, going out, locking the door, that type of thing. It should be asked of the DPW.
My other question is the status of Ricky Truitt, who was our camera door lock guru. Is he here? Is he available? Has he moved to Florida and we no longer have anyone in that capacity? And you guys have blank faces like,
Well,
don't know
I
what
mean,
I'm
right now, he's a vendor helping
Brian?
ITS do some of these installations of cabling and then those projects, but I don't know that he was having a change of status again, that he was going to be leaving the area. That I'm not aware of, so I can't tell you what his next steps are and whether or not he's still helping us out.
But he is still a contractor for us.
Up
it sounds
until the
like.
last time I realized that he was. If there's a
Okay.
change in status, I wouldn't know the answer to that question.
Okay, because he did the doors here for us. So, you know, he should be doing the doors for you guys over there too. So, thank you.
I have a question since we're kind of random here. And this is like the third year, so I should know the answer. The Finance Committee has recommendations in their report, and some of them have translated to amendments which will be voted on. But how are recommendations handled? How are we sort them by department? Do they go to each department, and who does that? Blank stare.
Are you talking about our recommendations?
Yes.
Well, I think the question I had was, do we have to do an amendment form for our recommendations?
Only if there's a change in the budgetary spending authority.
Yeah, that's why I only.
And if it's recommendations on the operations side, I probably am not the best person to answer how we're going to relay those to the department. And I don't know, are those recommendations actionable by the full council? How do you, like the Finance Committee has these recommendations, are those legally actionable by the full council?
Right.
Because what we're updating is an ordinance that's giving people spending authority.
Right.
If you have operational recommendations, I am not sure how those
Yeah.
relate to the departments and how that those recommendations are further approved by council. So I don't know if
That's kind of my question.
the city manager has anything to add to this. We may have to talk to the Office of Law, the city manager, about how we might put those into action.
So to address Alderman Finlayson, we did our homework and we extracted from those the ones that have monetary impact, therefore an amendment to the budget value or whatever. So, and I think there's 3 or 4 of them at the end. But
The OEM position,
Right.
for example,
That's number one.
122,000.
That's something that we have in an amendment proposed,
You already
adding
have an
funding.
amendment for that.
Yes, I spoke
Those are
with
at the end of our
Alderwoman O'Neill yesterday, who's putting it together.
But did you complete an amendment form
Karma
for that?
tasked herself with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Completed an
any
amendment
others?
form for that one,
Oh, you have it in front of
for
you.
the 50,000 to the Office of Law
Oh,
for
go down-
contract services.
Go down to the very, very bottom. Aren't they itemized there? Yeah, those.
Yes.
So that's why I had 4.
Yep, but the support keeping the city of Annapolis COA
It doesn't have a monetary value.
does not have a monetary value, and
Do you see
then
what she's looking at, the last?
the increase.
Yeah,
report?
I'm just trying to get to it. Didn't we have one, and I wasn't sure, for the police department, for the budget analyst? Was that not one of our recommendations?
I don't remember that.
I don't think so, not that I recall.
No.
There is a position that they're working on creating a civil service status for currently. I don't know if it's the same thing that you're referring to, but there was no Finance Committee amendment or recommendation related to a budget analyst.
Correct. The only 3 we submitted were the emergency planner at 122, 133, the $50,000 to Office of Law,
Recommendation under police.
and the increase in the short-term rental license fees from 200 to
Look
400.
at that one. So
It
if you,
was-
no, it's not as a recommendation under police. You can still submit it as an amendment separate from the Finance Committee. Do we do non-value amendments? For example, I asked Amy Maguez, Captain Maguez, about a police camera on Duke of Gloucester. This is my own amendment, not the Finance Committee. And she responded something to the effect that they are at no cost. But I just wanted to make sure that it's done. So my question is, do we do a no value amendment? That's silly, isn't it?
I'm not saying it's silly. I think it's a question we haven't really addressed with how would we legislate those into something that's
It's like, what are we
actionable
voting
rather
on?
than
Yeah, it's
adding
just-
to an ordinance saying you want to make, those are the types of things you do resolutions for. The council wants this particular thing to happen.
Well, in the past, and I have requested cameras and received them. And Mr. Truitt was the one who installed fiber optics for us. And I simply made the request to the police chief. and he followed up with Mr. Paquin and and it was done. I didn't have to do a
Yeah, I am
resolution.
assuming that's how most of these things happen.
Yeah.
They are aware of your needs in one way or another, and they move forward on them.
Yeah.
In the everyday course of business.
So
I just think that it's important that you keep in touch with those departments that you're wanting these items for and see what the progress is.
Okay. What else?
I do
So
have,
just trying to fill my positions, and
Nobody's left though, right? You haven't-
we have a senior buyer position that we're finishing the interviewing for. Hopefully we'll have some.
That person would work for Mike, the,
Yes. And those, I think they just finished the first round of interviews for those, so we should possibly have some second round candidates soon. And then, like I said, we've been doing interviews for accounting positions the last few days.
I do have, Madam Chair, I have a question first. Going back to fees, have we analyzed the percentage of increases that are being requested? And where can I find that? I know some of them because I figured it out myself, but there are some others that I would like for us to really look at the percentage of increases that we are making.
We are relying, those recommendations for fee increases are done by the departments, and they would be doing the analysis of the increases, so I would have to defer to them to answer how they came up with a particular increase.
No, I'm not asking how they came up with it. I just want to see the percentage of difference that they are asking for, whether it's a 10% increase
Okay.
or a,
So, I mean, we can do that. We can lay the fees next to each other in a table and give you the calculated percentage increase, if that's what you'd like. For any of the fees in the budget ordinance, the fee schedule that are changing. can do
I
that.
would like to. I did it with some help, being an English teacher, not a math teacher. I needed help. And
Yeah.
fortunately, I have an auditor who's a brother-in-law and a procurement officer. So
Okay.
he helped me out a lot. But
Yeah,
it
exactly.
works.
Maybe,
He's the comptroller's.
okay, all right, sure.
So I
Yeah.
have some of them, but if you have them, I don't want to put you through.
It's, I don't think it's going to be too hard of a
I
table
would
to
just
come
like
up
to
with.
see the differences.
The
so.
biggest one is Parks and Recs, really, those,
Yeah.
I mean, as far as.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
they tend to come
No, there are a
in
few others, but yes.
waves. A department will go over a lot of their fees, and then the next year, another department will
Oh, I
review
know.
their fees. So they kind of come in waves, so it's probably not going to be that
Yeah. I remember
difficult to do your calculation for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Planning and zoning, I think. Oh, I remember when Beth Bellis did a comprehensive review, and planning and zoning did one maybe last year or the year before. So they're tasked to say, again, it's supposed to address what they ascertain as their costs for each or whatever, yeah.
Are they? Do they have to match their increase to the increased cost of service?
Theoretically, I hope.
That's how they're calculating the changed fee, is looking at the cost of providing the service and adjusting them accordingly. They don't have to necessarily recoup all of their costs, but that is in the calculation. I think you even talked about an example where they had looked at their actual cost and came up with a fee for the fee schedule that you thought was too high, and we're going to ask that that be reduced. Am I correct? So that's an example of, they think the cost is X, but there's a perception that it's too high of an increase for citizens to bear. So then we don't have to recoup all the costs. We can set those fees at a lower rate.
So,
I do have an amendment in,
Yeah,
but I don't have all the numbers in yet, because
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to put it in a format, because I did all the percentages and all
Okay.
that, so it's coming today.
Hey, do you, I asked my colleagues, I'm stuck on our recommendations just being shelved. Do you want like an update on them during the year, or? Do you understand, like, what I'm asking? Like,
So could we create a resolution that says the finance committee offers these recommendations and wants an update on the status of recommendations within second quarter of FY '25, or?
will that do the trick?
So
I'm trying
the,
to think of an example that, there's hard ones.
the council is free to require what you would like for us to report on for your recommendations.
Without a,
And the resolution would, well, the resolution actually puts it to council. So the full council is saying they agree with these and want to know what the status is, or, you know, can we do them, can we not do them, and if we can't, why? That's not an unreasonable request, so it's up to you.
As a finance committee, we can call in the departments at any time. We can
You
call
could,
in every
you
3
could,
months, call in.
and a finance committee meeting, you
different
could do it in
3
a
or 4
finance committee
departments
meeting and not
and
through a resolution if you wanted to do that.
yeah, the resolution is really the will of the council, so I don't know
Right.
if we need a resolution, but just, I don't know.
You could add them to, you could add departments to your agenda
Yeah,
periodically throughout the year and ask them to come and report on your recommendations during the
I
budget.
think, yeah, I mean, blah, 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 blah. I mean, some of them are, I mean, the one, which one I feel strongly about is, maybe, I hope I have it. Yes, under DPW Enterprise Fund to implement an alternative stormwater charge structure. Remember the tier system to the footprint or whatever? That was a recommendation given to us. So I guess you're saying is it's up to us really to ask the status. Are you okay with that, colleagues?
I'm good with it.
Okay. 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 You know, it was 3 weeks of our lives, so. Assistant City Manager, do you have anything to chat about?
I don't think so.
She said she did her chatting earlier.
Yeah, I did.
All right, well, good luck with the amendments.
Can I offer this added information?
Yes,
While we were
chatting.
I did reach out to Teresa Wellman, and she says that she does have a current balance, a remaining balance in the fund of approximately $200,000. And that there is somebody planning to continue the program when she retires.
So this
Those are my
is,
2 questions for her.
so this, when is she retiring? June 1 or something? July 1?
Somewhere, or May,
like that.
maybe May.
Okay.
month.
I think it's in May.
Yeah, I think it's May.
Wow,
I
okay.
actually do
End of
have,
May.
I guess, one quick update, which is has been progress on the union negotiations. We have one of the agreements just got ratified, and the other has been TA'd, has a tentative agreement. Thank you. I don't know why I blinked on that. So we do have some progress, which has been nice.
So is it 3 out of the 4?
2 of the 3.
2 out of,
Oh, no, it's 4. So 3 of the 4. 3 of the 4,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
okay. Well, that's good.
Okay. All right. Well, if there isn't anything else, I know I have to get to an amendment. I'll accept the motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.